Alright, in this module we'll look at columns, and working with columns in a document is another function of the page layout of that document or that particular page. You don't have to have columns throughout the entire document that you're working on. So to set this up, go to the page layout, and you can certainly use text that you already have, a document that you already have, and use columns with that, or you can set up your columns before you make the document. Either way works just fine. In this particular case, we'll take an existing document and we will go to the page setup options here, the page setup grouping of the page layout tab of the ribbon. Click on columns, and then it just becomes a very simple matter of choosing 1, 2, 3. By default, it should be 1 should be selected. But if I want to make 2 columns out of my document, there we go. If I want to make 3, or if I want to place them on the left or the right, you can see what those changes or what those selections will have which effects on your documents. Clicking on more columns, of course, gives you the most control over your columns, the width, the spacing, and so on. It also lets you be very granular about where to apply the columns to the whole document or this point forward, wherever your insertion point is in the document, and also to put a line between. So 3, 4 columns, let's just stay with 2 columns here, and then click on OK. So now we've got a column, and notice that if I start to add to, say, the left column, for example, here, it's just going to shove that text on down the page. So if I just start to add and add and add and so on, then this column to the right, the text just keeps on moving, and then this picks up over here on this section on page 2 in this example right here. Now, you can force a section break if you want to in the middle of your column, and that's kind of an interesting way to use your columns. And the way you do that is you stay in this page setup grouping here, and there's a button up here on the upper right called Insert Page and Section Breaks. So you can insert a column break here, indicate that the text following the column break will begin in the next column. And what that simply means is if I insert a column break there, then section 2, as you can see, starts up here. That was, and I actually had a couple of paragraphs or a couple of blank lines, but at any rate, you can see the results. Nothing else appears in this column, and then the next section starts up here. So I've inserted a break, and the rest of the columns proceed, as you can see. So as I said, you can change this to a document, or you can add these columns to a document after the fact, after you've already added all the text you're going to add, or you can create a new document, which by default is 1 column. Go to your page layout, go to your columns, say let's have 3 columns here, and then start to add text. As you can see, it conforms to the column widths that you can see if you have the ruler engaged, which I do in this particular module.